Hello everybody and welcome back to today's episode on the channel, and today we are doing something a little bit different again. We are today going to be on the creative build discovery server on Shadow Kingdom, and we're going to start having a little look around at some of the plots that have been put up in the last few weeks, as this server is brand new and there are some amazing builds going up. I think it was about time we started to show some love to the creative community here on Shadow Kingdom. So follow me as we start to have a look at some of the plots that have been put up and submitted. We're going to be doing these in batches of about 15 because there's so many that have gone up in the last month or so of the server being live that we can't possibly get through all of the plots that have already been submitted in one video, otherwise we would be here for hours. So guys, this is episode 1. I think we're going to get at least 3 episodes before we're even caught up because of the quality of the builds we're going to get to see. So here we go. And here we are at the first plot that we're going to look at today. This, I believe, is build number 12 if you want to find it on the server, and this was called Pink Castle, as you can see, by our veteran builder, Ultra Brain, who's done a lot of amazing things on the server for a good long time now. So, but for now, we're going to have a look at this one individual plot, which I think is utterly charming. So let's just ignore my little castle to the side. He's my neighbour. That's my Japanese castle. But for now, we're looking at the Pink Castle. And already, you know what? I'm impressed because I can't do anything with purple. I haven't seen many people who can do anything decent with purple, but that is an impressive attempt at making purple useful. I think you'll agree that works. Whether you like pink or not, as a theme, that's fantastic. Now, as we go through some of these plots, guys, I'm going to be pointing out what I think is good about these plots, what is notable, and particularly if you're not used to the creative server or to building in a creative environment like this, I'm going to be pointing out some of the things that you really should be learning from, trying for yourself, and just little tips that will make your builds much better. And I think this is a great place to start. Now, first off, obviously I said purple, wow. A block palette is the main point here. He's picked the whitish tones and all of the pinkish purple tones and stuck with them throughout the build, and that really makes the build harmonize really well. Now, onto the structure. What he's done here is it's a fairly simple build. It's not a big build, and I don't think it would have taken him too much time, because if you look at all of these towers, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 square turrets, and each one of them, although they're different sizes, has a basic structure to it that's more or less identical with these slabbed arches and pillars as supports on each corner, and then the purple designs in the middle. So once he's designed one, it's very easy to, there we go, boom, boom, 1, 2, I think that's the same, those 3 are identical, and then build off of that design to build the bigger ones, and then just join them up with these little sections of wall that makes it feel like a castle. It works really well, and really not too hard. The key is just in the detailing, which he's done really well. The other thing, of course, is the use of different levels. As you see, you come in at that lower level, he's not kept everything in the build flat, which is great. So you get all of these different, you got a steep steps up here to this area, and then more steps up here to this area, so you get really high up. But if you go the other way around, you get this shallow path that brings you around here, up onto the walls if you want to, and then up and around the back and into the towers here. Lots of variety and interest to the paths. It's really a good way of laying out a build. And yeah, so first plot of the video, and I think you'll agree it's fantastic. If you like it, guys, get onto the server, give Ultra a like, maybe even a comment, and give him some love for this fantastic build. So guys, on to the next plot. So here we are at plot 13, entitled Demon Lady. Very dramatic, and we're doing 2 in a row of the same builder here. This is again our good friend Ultra Brain Ultra, this time showing off his greatest skill, I think, in Minecraft, and that is organics. Now it's a bit hard to see from down here, so we're gonna have to fly. And I think this is the best way to view it. Look at this for a build. I have no idea how much time this must have taken, and I have no idea how he even started planning something this size, but isn't that impressive? Amazing. Now, I know it's going to sound like I think every plot on here is amazing, but frankly, at the moment, it's because every plot on here really is amazing. The standard of building so far on Creative Build Discovery has been so high. We're not going to spend too long on Ultra's second plot because we don't want it to be all about him today. But here we go. I wanted just to point out again this same technique. You can tell it's the same builder because look, although this is at first glance looks like quite a lot of complexity, what has been done here is this same thing of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these dome towers, each of them following the same kind of style and theme, same block palette, similar design choices with the dome with the small pillars and then the windows. So it's not taken too much to key everything in and just attach all these things together with paths at different levels, and then everything starts to fit, and it fits really nicely on this great terraining that he's managed here. And again, he's given a bit of variety because he's putting these little, instead of putting domes in, he's put these little, I don't know, what would you call them, little platforms, 1, 2, 3 of them to add a bit of variety. And it just shows off every key skill in creative. I think you've got amazing work with organics, amazing work with terrain, and really strong structure here. So again, well done Ultra, really good. So let's move on to the next plot. And now we're on to plot 14, Petit Palace, by A Builder. Yes, that's their in-game name. I'm going to have to be really careful with my pronouns here. I actually have no idea for quite a few of these builders whether what pronouns they prefer, so if I get it wrong, someone slap me in the comments below. But here we are, A Builder showing off some mega detailing. I thought we'd look at this from far off to begin with before we start looking at the details, because it is so dizzyingly detailed, isn't it? Look at the details all over these things. Now, personal preference, I'm not a big fan of the over detailing, but at the same time I can really appreciate the amount of talent that it takes to build something this complicated looking. And for those who are looking for tips whilst they're on this video, what I would point out is that although it looks very complex as a building, actually structurally it's very simple. It's 1 tower here and 1 tower offset behind here, and then this little turret here are the main structures, and they're very simple geometric objects. They're just oblong, and then a couple of domed roofs and a pointy roof. What really makes it stand out as a more complex build is the layering of detail all over everything here. Again, notice the palette choice, keeping with a strict theme of the beige to brown blocks, even using some interesting block choices here, using the redstone lamps. I thought was quite interesting. I've not seen that on too many builds. As you'll notice, a lot of this could have been done really quite easily with a little bit of help from World Edit. You know, this tower is essentially more or less identical to this tower, except that they're set at different levels and kind of smooshed together here. They're built inside or nesting inside one another. But in terms of the actual work of building them, that's really one build duplicated and repositioned. So although they look very complicated, you can do this really without too much stress and hassle if you're clever with the way that you clone and parts of your build. But don't forget when you do that to add different details. So you can see in here that there are different details on this wall than there are on this wall, even though they are attached to the same builds, just basically duplicated. So you've got to vary the details. But I think you'll agree, A Builder, stunning effort there. Really nice and really unique style as a builder. So well done, A Builder. If you like it, go give Plot 14 your likes and your comments. And now here we are at Empire's Fall. Fantastically named plot here by Tim130620002, who I think you'll agree we can call Tim for the rest of this section of the video. Tim, I'm going to go ahead and say before we even get on to this is a plot that really surprised me at first glance. It looked fairly, usual modern skyscraper city builds. I've seen a few of these around as I've been looking, but as I started looking around the plot for the details, I realised that the amazing thing about this is actually the storytelling. Tim has shown a really unique skill here. This isn't just a static build, this is a living action scene where things are actually happening. So as we move around and just make sure everything's rendered, you can start to see that, look, there are buildings that are falling over. There's these laser beams coming from what appear to be these huge spaceships, fantastically rendered. Towers collapsing, beams being shot out, and there's obviously a battle scene happening. There's things being sucked up by these beams. Look at the tree in midair. Fantastic action, sense of movement and momentum. And we've got the same thing over here. You see we've got these beams smashing into the skyscrapers, tearing chunks of them off. It's wonderfully well done. I love these little robots as well. You can see coming out of the hangars at the bottom of the spacecraft here. They're all zooming out and doing their dastardly business. I think you can see some of them. Let's see over here. Oh yeah, look. Here's 4 of them lifting up a tank in midair, stealing it with their little purple rays, lifting parts of the railway network. Fantastically imaginative storytelling here. And honestly, I can only show you a fraction in this video of what is an amazing build. I really am impressed. It is hard to do something that is different and fresh and new in creative, I find, and Tim has done a super job of it. And as always, guys, get on the server, give the plot a like, give your comments, share the love. It really does help the builders. This is the way this amazing creative build discovery server works. It's not just a bunch of staff giving their opinions and awarding ranks when they think. People earn their ranks when they get enough likes, comments on their builds. So the more people give love to really quality builds, the more people get those ranks that really recognise them as builders. And there you go, look, another skyscraper tumbling to the ground. So that's Empire's Fall. On to our next plot. Just to prove how varied and different the builds are in Shadow Kingdom Creative Build Discovery, here we are in Plot 17 by my good friend Blueboat, who has entitled this plot Tortured Temples. And it is gruesome, let me tell you. Some real Halloween kind of effects happening in this build. I think you'll agree. It's taking some fairly nice architecture, quite simple but nice architecture, and then absolutely transforming it with these, I don't know, blood and guts and entrails. It's something out of a strange horror film. It's fantastic. Halloweeny build, good use of the varying different block colours, those red and pinky hues, to get those blood effects dripping from the windows. But what I really wanted to point out, again, if you're starting out, these builds are not overly complicated. Blueboat hasn't worried too much about the actual detail of the builds. You can see the detailing there is really simple. No slabs, no stairs, just simple blocks, mostly quartz and concrete it looks like, but from a distance it does the job just to give the basic shape of the build and then layers the theme on top, really spending the time creating the gore and ooze coming out of the building, which I think is fantastic. Good use of a unique roof style there. Roofs, I know, quite difficult. I found them really difficult when I first started. So take your inspiration here, guys. And another thing, just to make things a little bit more than your basic, is that Blue has put this building on an angle. As you can see, it's slightly at a slant, not just straight on, which is another advantage of keeping your detailing simple. If you've got simple detailing, then it's much easier to just offset it slightly on an angle rather than keeping it straight. If you've got an immensely detailed plot, it is so much harder to twist and turn these buildings to make them look more interesting at different angles. But well done, Blue Boat, really great Halloweeny work there. So here we are at plot 18 by 00000000000, which is possibly the most unpronounceable name that I can think of on the server. So thanks for that, makes it really easy to make videos. So this is obviously a fairly quick build from OO. I'm going to call you OO for now because that's the easiest way of saying it. Who has made a tropical island, and I think this goes to show you that actually you don't need to be going all out crazy like the ultras and the blues of the server. Fairly basic, simple skills well done can get you those early ranks on Shadow Kingdom, and this is a good example of practicing the basics. There's work on making interesting looking water, some good terraining, some really strong custom trees there with a palm tree effect, and there's not a lot going on, but you know what, as a starter build with probably only a few days into the server, this is a great way of kicking off your journey up the ranks. As I said on the previous plot, a lot of these first few plots on the server were probably submitted after only a few days of the server being open, so these are obviously guys who are really super eager to start getting those beginner ranks, so they have gone up super quick, as you can see. And so this again is very different. This is inspired by the real world. This time we have the Burj Khalifa. For those of you who don't know, famous huge skyscraper in, I don't know, Dubai, is it? Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. It's somewhere in the Middle East, I'm sure. But this is a good example of making good use of simple blocks. Build a rank achieved on the 27th of the 2nd. That doesn't make sense. The 2nd of the 26th. No, don't know. Cookies, that's confusing. But cookies, I think this is a great example of simple builds to hit your ranks. Loving the use of the carpets, as you can see inside. Look at all of those multicolours, just giving flash of colour to an otherwise grey build. Not spent too much time on terraining. This is a quick job, fairly simple structure, but a really neat way of hitting your first rank of builder. So well done, cookies. I can't wait to see what you do with a little bit more time. And so from simple quick concept builds to the other extreme on this plot, this is Italia by Casey McNomnom. Fantastic in-game name, thanks for that. This showing an amazing talent for detailing. This build is fantastic throughout. It has the mixture of really super large structure, and as you can see, the very small details around the paths and the landscape. So let's dive right in and have a look, and we can first see this fantastic gatehouse with the flags flying, the Italian flags obviously. Some interesting block choices here with the red sandstone and the nether. I quite like that. I've not seen those together much. Oh yeah, and the acacia wood. Lots and lots of different block types there, blending in really well together. That's not easy to do, so well done. And you can see the interesting use here of the what are they, observers, and the other bits and pieces to make the gate there. Really good. But inside is what's fantastic. Look at these custom trees, beautiful. Really like those. It's the simple things that make a build really special for me, and that's a beautiful custom tree. And here we go. Look at this beautiful little cart, wagon, I don't know, what would you call it, there, and a little park with the benches and more beautiful custom trees there. But look at these houses, fantastic little row of houses here with lots of different colours. This is someone clearly with a really good eye for colour and liveliness, everything different, but it doesn't look too busy. It looks just right, enough to give that Mediterranean, vibrant, sunny feel to the builds. Really well done. Look at the climbing plants on the sides of the buildings, and these I don't know, the ropes perhaps across the streets. Done really well there. And then let's have a look a bit further away now and look at the details, and you can see these big walls, these big turrets. Great use of the trapdoors there and the wood all the way up, keeping the theme with this varied turrets here. And then on the outside of the walls you have this beautiful little area outside of the city that feels like these nice little rolling meadows with the wheat farms and which again look really nicely done. He's not just spammed across everything. The wheat placement is strategic to give it some life and some shape, which is really nice. And again, conceptually not that complicated. It's a gatehouse, it's 4 towers arranged in a circle, and then another one off that way and another one off that way, and then here is just one street of houses. It's a big plot, but it's really well done. Lots of detailing that makes the build feel really alive. I think that's a fantastic job. So well done there, Casey McNomnom, and thanks for letting us visit. And here we are at build number 22, simply entitled The Tree, which is a rather apt title. And as you can see, yet again, a different builder, a different style. This time looking at these plant organics, which I think are fantastically done. Really simple, colourful flowers, lily pads, looks like bulrushes there. Really nicely done, all surrounding. And I love these toadstools. These are great. These are, look at that. Really nicely done there. I think they're my favourite thing on the whole plot. And then this fantastic huge tree here, really nicely done. It's not easy to do big trees like that, and I think this is a great example of a good effort here. One thing I would say, the canopy here is a little bit on the flat side. I'm sure that this builder, who I believe is called Catch-A-Lot Dodo, hope I've got that right, I think probably intended this mostly to be viewed from underneath. I think if I was building a tree like this, I might be more inclined to make a slightly more rounded canopy of leaves. Maybe that's what they were going for though, so you know what, to each their own. And these lovely lamps as well. I'm not sure what these are either, but fantastic, interesting, different build style. Again, we are on to build 22, and not one plot has been the same. So fantastic work, guys. As always, you creative types are doing the best. If you've made it this far into the video with us, well done for sticking with it. We are into the last 3 builds of this video. We're on to build 23 now, titled Senate Imperialis by the builder Jien. I think that's how you pronounce the name again. And I think this is a really good example of how builds can look really quite impressive, whilst at the same time employing fairly simple concepts. And that's not to knock Xian's building at all, but to show, if you're only just starting building plots in creative, that you don't need to go too complicated to make a build look really quite impressive. This is effectively a cuboid on the bottom, a cylinder here, and then half a sphere. And that's the basic geometric structure of the building, and the rest is just careful block choices, palette choices, and then just detailing where it needs to be. So having these hexagonal windows in the top, having those little pillared structures at the top of the dome, just to give a little bit of variety. Again, no custom trees. We have got basic vanilla Mojang trees throughout, because it doesn't need it. We don't need massive great big trees here that distract from the main feature, which is this build, which is a great grand imperial structure. And again, look at this, the different layers. You come in on one level, up the steps into this main auditorium, and you've got different layers of the build. These seating areas around, and then over the back you've got these little narrow stairs onto another layer, which is the outside sections. And all that slight variation in level just gives enough variety to make the place visually interesting. This is a really good example of simple ideas implemented really well. We're on to build 24 now, Titanic themed, and it's our first boat of the episode. I'm sure as time goes on we're going to get more boats, but here's our first one, aptly titled Titanic themed, and it's a really good effort considering that this is a very small plot. They've really filled the space well, and that's a really good effort. Some really good quality sea there. I love the effect of the waves there cresting white, and the iceberg, just to again give that little bit of storytelling to the build. And this builder, who is, let me see my notes, Titanic theme, here we go, is Earth Dragon. Great work. Earth Dragon has done some interiors as well. Here you can see a little stand-up comedy platform whilst everyone's having their drinks in the bar, and the multiple layers of this build. And one thing I would say, if anything, this build could be improved with a little bit of lighting. It's quite dim in here. Again, really struggling with the scaling of things here. I don't think I'd like to try and get in that seat. It's a little bit not the right size. You need that roof maybe one higher. Little kids play areas, very charming. And where are we now? Are we on the top level here? I think we are. So let's go back down, and little cafe area here with the little food. Well done there. And then down into the bowels of the boat. More nice staircases here. Again, I would really recommend just around these stairs put some pillars, maybe wooden log pillars as supports, just to vary the block choice here. It's all very, very oaky, which is great for a start build. But if you want to really take your building to the next step, think about moving away from everything being the same block. You can see on this level everything is oak. Nice toilets here, little details there. And then one thing I would like us to have a quick look at before we leave this plot is the bottom layer. And here you can see the hull of the boat, and obviously at this point the builder isn't really sure, it seems, how to fill this space. I think some notion of an engine there, but this is where I would really suggest do your research, guys. There are tons of resources, especially if you're building something realistic like a Titanic style boat. There are so many websites with detailed plans of boats and what's in each layer. The hull of that kind of boat in reality would not be one big open space. There would be lots of different compartments with lots of different things going on. So do your research. If you're wondering how to fill a space, there are lots of things on the internet that will help you figure out what would the bottom of a big steamship like that contain. So guys, yeah, do your research. But you know what? Great boat. And here we are on build 25, our last build of this episode, and this is Tropical Kingdom by Queen Bethic. And there's the signs. Little tip for you: when you're setting your spawn point on a plot, make sure you put your signs in front of the spawn point, because you spawn here, you can't see your signs. So it's the little things, but that really does help you get as many likes as possible on your plots. But what I want to do to begin with is to take a step back and look at this plot from a distance. A nice beach here with the palm trees, and then a fairly simple sort of deserty, temple-y feel going on with the structure. And you notice that the structure on this plot only takes up, what, a quarter maybe at the most of the plot. And do you know what? That is actually a really good decision, I think, here, because this builder has been able to show off decent terraining skills, decent organics with those lovely custom trees, and has taken the time to do a small section of building, but do it to a really good standard. Rather than trying to build something enormous for a first plot, they've built something decent sized and really given it some love and detail and attention. Here I love the detailing of the trapdoors and the buttons and the flags and the ladders, all adding to it. Nice, good detailed paths here, and these trees with the hanging they look like, are they hanging lanterns maybe? That's a really nice effect. But what I think is very clever about this plot is that when you actually walk through it at floor level, all of these tiny little streets with the details of the chests and the hay bales and the anvils are quite close together, quite closed in, and it makes the build actually weirdly feel much bigger than it actually is. There are so many little details, the little stalls, the bushes overhanging the pathways on these trellises everywhere. All these tiny little details everywhere make a smaller build feel that much bigger and more impressive. And then you've got this, what feels like perhaps a ruined area of the build here. It's a really nice touch that not everything is perfect and pristine. There's obviously something that's either fallen into disrepair or been destroyed somehow. And then you've got these fantastic simple walls, good sized towers, nice variety of builds, and that is fantastic. Little vineyard here, nice flowers, nice plants, really filling the plot with good detail that shouldn't have been too onerous to do, shouldn't have taken too long, but the overall effect is of a really good quality plot. Everything has been given some love here. So Queen Bethic, really enjoyed that build. Well done. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do in the future. So that's it for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed the look around the first I think we did 18 plots there, possibly, yeah, I would really recommend get onto the server, get and look at these in person. It's one thing looking at these on a video, but it is a completely different thing walking through them yourself. So come on, give your comments, give your likes to the builds that really impressed you. And you know what? Get a plot and start doing some of your own, and you can see yourself in future episodes of this creative focus. So guys, until next time, please leave a like, consider subscribing if you're enjoying the content here from myself, and guys, we'll see you in the next episode.